There's a bald eagle out there, and there's a bald ego right here. Still alive. As are the cats. You can't see Callie, can you? But you can hear her, I'm sure. Satchitananda is a cat's purr. I have football to watch today, starting at 1 hour and 14 minutes from now. Small group today. Everyone's got other things to do. Thank you for sharing that last video that I made, by the way. This is the way the movement is going to move. The movement towards stillness. It's got a good ring to it. when you can see the biggest picture possible, it kind of all makes sense. The why we are becoming so addicted to the screen and to the digital realm. Everything is a means to that end for Maya. Everything that appears to be something else is just a scheme to get human consciousness focused on the digital realm so they can make this transition into the next iteration of samsara without any fighting, without resisting it at all. Maya is the final puppet master. Well, for me, it started way back with the introduction of symbol. Like that's to me, that's how far back this goes. The first cave drawings are representations of a representation. This whole physical realm is a representation of God, I guess, of Brahman, and then these experiences are further replicated or reproduced or recorded on a two-dimensional, and that's to me that's where it all began. So yeah, a long way back. This is because something this big, something that's been unfolding for 13.7 billion years, if you're going to switch that around, that transition period might last 100,000 years, right? Or 10,000 years, or however long symbol has been in consciousness. So it has to be something this dramatic of a change needs to be taken in steps very, very slowly by Maya. Otherwise, we'd notice it, right? But it's like the whole boiling the frog analogy. I don't know if that's true or not, but the frog doesn't notice the temperature of the water in the pot that it's in. It doesn't notice that it's rising until it's too late. It doesn't jump out. So that's how gradual this has been. So we just normalize it, normalize it, normalize it. And then all of a sudden we're in a new realm where we're taking ourselves to be the hardware and the software, and we're nowhere closer to winning the game, to realizing what the self really is. We're lulled into delusion, entranced. Well, symbol, like I said, symbol is the conduit through which our awareness shifts to the digital realm, or the thought realm, I guess. And the transition period between the thought realm and the physical realm is the digital realm. Because I don't think the digital realm is going to last that long. I think it's just an intermediary stage between the thought realm and the physical realm. Taking one to be primary and fundamental, and the other one to be a cause of that or relative to the other one. It's turtles all the way, right? It's just simulation built to see. So this is a representative, right? This is metaphor. This whole realm is metaphor or a representation. And then, of course, the digital realm is a further representation of a representation. So this is how we get lost in turtles all the way, not knowing, not finding fundamental reality because we focusing on the appearances. You'll never find that which is appearing if you just keep looking at the appearances. And the irony of it is that what we take to be nothing is that which is appearing. It's it's the Tao that cannot be measured or described. We've swallowed it hook, line, and sinker, as they say. Yeah, to me, that line, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. To me, that is relating to the thought realm. It's a non-physical, non-sensual, before or prior to the arising of the physical world. That's what that's describing. It's describing complete acceptance of the thought realm, which is, I guess, just the voice in your head, to be fundamental reality. So that's the switch. We're at the end now of that iteration. There was mind before the Big Bang, just very, very bluntly and rudimentary, simply. There was, before the Big Bang was mind, just a complete mind realm. And after the Big Bang, it turned into the development accepted as fundamental reality. So that was the beginning of this huge iteration that is the physical realm of the senses. And now it's switching back. And the digital realm, I believe, is a intermediary stage between the physical realm and the mental realm. So it's flipping back now. This is how huge this is, right? Like an object is a thing with a word attached to it. That's what an object is. And a thing is a specific, agreed upon combination of senses, right? A spoon isn't how they describe it in the dictionary. A spoon is a specific, agreed upon combination of senses. That's what a spoon is. But you take that specific combination of agreed upon senses, and then you add a word to it, and then you get an object that appears to be distinct and separate from everything else, called a spoon. So that's where the word comes in. The word added on to senses equals objects. Without words, we would just experience world of the senses as one uniform, but you add words onto it and it makes things pop out to appear to be separate from everything else. So if you just transcend the words, I believe that this would be the natural route to enlightenment, right? If we just didn't develop thoughts, if we just ignored the thoughts so they died off and we were just experiencing this as the pure witness without any bias, which is a word is a bias. So if we just experience this without those words attached to the sensations, then there would be no appearance of separateness. Non-dualists like the neo-advaitists, you can't just say or have an idea that everything's one and then still have a bunch of just think the same way that you used to always. There's no difference in your thought processes, and there's still words popping up all the time just as usual. Then you can't help but have the appearance of separately existing objects. You can say all you want that I had this awakening moment where I understood that everything's one thing. You can't say that and then say that, oh, but my mind never changed at all and I still have all the same amount of thoughts that I've always had. It's like, well, you're saying one thing, but you're literally experiencing something else, because every time there's a word that pops into your head, then that is projecting the appearance of a separately existing object. And this is what language does, right? We're trapped in the symbol realm. We're trapped in the symbol realm. We don't know what the fuck's going on anymore, right? It's like the mirror facing the mirror. We just have no idea which mirror image is the reality, because neither of them are. We're just paying so much attention to the appearances in the mirrors that we miss the reality. There's a bald eagle out there, and it's been sitting there for I don't know how many hours. Like, this is nature. Nature is not hectic and busy and no understands time the way we do. It's just sitting there, chilling. And the awareness that that eagle had it, right? So it experiences the physical realm as one undivided whole, right? So that's why it operates in unity and symbiosis with its environment, because it doesn't have words projecting the illusion of separately existing objects, especially the eye. The eye is the one that separates the body from everything else. Right. Yes, exactly. Adam, right, was that's probably the fall. Like, that's one of the steps of the process of the fall from grace is names. He names all the animals, which is a cognitive, right, conceptual process, which projects the illusion of separately existing identities. So yeah, that's one of the is that after they ate the apple or before? I don't know. Yeah, and the tree of knowledge itself, right? That is the original act of separation, separated good from evil, right? So that is the initial expression of duality arising within human consciousness. And everything went awry after that. See, we split the unity and the singularityness of all of this with language, but we don't recognize what language and symbol. But then we don't realize that it's language and symbol that's projecting the illusion. So then we have philosophers and mathematicians and scientists trying to repair that or get back to unity by using language, which is the tool that the language can only separate things. Language projects the illusion of separation. So then we have these really smart people using language to try to fix the problem that language creates. So this is why it's non-conceptuality. Like, just shut up. Shut up. You're doing it. Like, you are literally, even in all of your speaking, you're literally projecting the illusion of separation while you're fucking speaking. So shut up. Yeah, maybe Adam was in there. Yeah, it was one of the first things that he did, isn't it? And when you no longer question the fundamental, like the roots of everything, the base of how all of this started, if you just stop investigating that, well, then that's basically you become a cult member that doesn't question with rigor what the cult leader is saying anymore. You've just accepted it. And then that is a straight line to freaking delusion and control. So we need to go back and question everything that we've taken to be true. The base of everything, every thought, every system of thought, we need to backtrack and go to the very conception of that and question it. Yeah. I'm preaching to the choir, I know, but see, we've done this before and we just keep following the same assumption without questioning it. And that leads us into this hell that we're about to experience again. It's so obvious to people like you and I, but a cult member will never believe that they're in a cult, even though it's completely obvious to a rational person that what you're believing is crazy and doesn't make sense. If you really attack it with rigorous investigation, the same can be said with everything that academia is. Like, academia itself is a cult, and everyone in it has been programmed to accept what the cult leader has said. They no longer question it. And then you end up with just insane shit like modern monetary theory. It's just crazy fucking shit. I think religion, I think they all start off with good intentions, but it's really hard to break out of the delusion, especially when you've been part of this for since you were born. We're just people are teaching their newborns, or not even, they're still in the freaking womb and they're teaching them language. Like, I think we all have good intentions. I think we're all looking for the same thing, but we've just been so mesmerized by Maya that it's very difficult to break out of the delusion. It's very difficult for a cult member that to break out of the cult because it's just you, right? I would say that if there's such a thing as evil, it would be the scientists and and priests and all the religious people that if they know the reality and they intentionally try to hide it, then that I would say is evil. If you're doing it completely in ignorance, there's no, the ego just wants to seek out stuff to reinforce its worldview. So what I've noticed is that information nowadays is just something relative to them. So it's, I think, therefore I am, but they're not even thinking anymore. It's just that they're reading or listening to, they're creating the thought, the voice in your head, right? They're literally creating the voice in your head. So all even the philosophers and all the really intelligent people, when they're reading something, all they want is a sugar high. All they want is for something to create the voice in their head. That's it. It doesn't matter what the voice is saying. It doesn't matter what the words are trying to relate, like the actual message that the words are trying to relate. We can't even use our brains, our minds anymore to discern. It's just noise. It's just the voice in your head. And they do this because they know they exist relative to the voice in their head, right? It's exactly, I think, therefore I am. But it's they're not even thinking for themselves. It's just the thinking is being manufactured for them, right? Thinking, being the voice in your head, is just being manufactured for you. So, yeah, I mean, so they, even though I try very hard to put things as succinctly and objectively and obviously as possible to express really, really important, the most important stuff ever, and it's not getting in because the words go through, like, the words bounce around in their head, but they're not trying to make sense of that. They just love the voice in their head. And this is why I think Bernardo Kastrup, he's interviewed at least once a week, hours and hours and hours every week. Bernardo Kastrup, blah 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 blahs, and it sounds really intelligent and that it's getting somewhere and that it makes sense, but it fucking doesn't. when you get down to it, he won't be able to say, well, this is reality and this is why we're here and this is what we're supposed to do and this is how we're supposed to do it. There'll be no conclusion, no concrete conclusion to all of the blah, blah, blahing he says, because he himself only knows the ego part. And that is that he exists relative to the voice in his and all the people that are interviewing him and listen to him, same thing. They just love hearing the voice in their head. They're not trying to understand anything. They just want a relative form of existence. It's a sad state. My cat has respiratory issues. Yeah. They don't, again, it's, Maya has obscured the purpose of the game, right? So I remember I used to be addicted to The Sims 2, and I wanted my character to just be perfect, right? To have all of the bar all white, and all of his, like, everything to be perfect by the time he died. But the goal of this game is to stop playing the game, is to shut it off and walk away. Yeah, just hours and hours and hours and hours and hours on that game. Yeah, for sure. Of course, I'd try to sleep with as many as possible. Of course. Oh, well, the spirituality, it, even the most, the Advaita Vedanta teacher that I admire the most, he stresses theory as much as practice, if not even more. But if Advaita Vedanta is the end of the teaching, then how can you still be focused on the teaching? It's not concluded within your consciousness if you still think you have something to learn. So if there's still thoughts, the disembodied voice in your head, then you're still not fully focused. You're still not Brahman yet, because there's still this need to have something relative to you, even if it's spiritual thoughts, to reaffirm your existence. And that's why you keep on with the teaching. You keep holding on to the words, to the symbols that are pointing you to transcend the words and the symbols. So you're still trapped within the symbol realm. You're still trapped in the mind realm. But like there's still the very, very, very subtlest of attachment going on with that teaching. To me, you have to, if Advaita Vedanta is the end of the teaching, well, that means that you no longer need the teaching. So what's the point in reading these books and going over these, right? Keep chanting the same thing over and over and again. It's you're kind of missing, you're missing it. Yeah, I suppose Atman is, yeah, that's a tough one. But the very fact that that Hinduism went beyond just an Atman means that they've misinterpreted what that means, and they further elaborate on something that they don't understand, and that develops into all the other gods, right? All the mythology is basically a misinterpretation of this, of what Brahman and Atman, that relationship, is symbolizing. There's no need to go beyond Brahman and Atman, and if you do, it just means that you don't understand that relationship fully, and then you elaborate on what you think you understand, and then it just goes off the mark, even so subtly, at these levels of being so close to finalization, to liberation. These subtleties are very important, right? And that Advaita Vedanta organization, or that they haven't responded to my emails, and it's probably because, unfortunately, they're still too attached to the teaching. They don't reference Maharshi very much because he is the embodiment of the transcendence of Advaita Vedanta. He's the living embodiment of the end of the teaching, because he just sat there in stillness. So that's why they do talk about him with reverence, and acknowledge that he was a fully enlightened being, but they just don't talk about his teaching or his life very much. Like 1% of what they talk about is reference to Ramana Maharshi. So unfortunately, although he is a very good teacher, he is attached to the teaching. Hmm. Yeah, the neo-Advaita non-dualist. It's unfortunate that they call it non-duality, because Advaita Vedanta also calls itself non-duality. But yeah, the neo-Advaitaists Yeah, I agree with that. Their problem is that they focus too much on this non-duality thing rather than, and they completely ignore the world is an illusion thing. And I think that the world being an illusion is is the path to take rather than trying to focus on the non-duality. So what they say is that when they look in a mirror, they say that Brahman and Atman is exactly the same thing. It's like saying when you look in the mirror, that's me and I'm that, right? They're putting the two experiences or two realms or states or whatever to be equal. So they're just one, and that's it. Uh, I'm in the mirror is me, and I'm the image, right? It's on equal footing, but that's wrong. It lacks the robust. That model lacks the robustness to explain anything in reality. Nothing can manifest. Nothing can change. Nothing can happen. Even the appearance of things can't happen with that model. It's a completely static model, and it doesn't work. They don't understand the nuance that the non-conceptuality is trying to express to them, is that it's the mere analogy. That's me, and I am not that. They say that's me, and I'm that, and they won't. You know, I know. I know. When it came to me, I'm like, well, this is it. This explains everything. If you just understand this analogy, you will understand Brahman and Atman, right? And if you understand Brahman and Atman, you don't need Shiva and Krishna and Vishnu and Yeshua or whatever. Like you don't need all this other stuff to try to explain, because you don't understand just the simple analogy of that's me and I'm not that. It All of the metaphors that you could possibly use, that Advaita Vedanta uses, they use the mirror and the dream. That's me, I'm not that, right? An actor, that's me, I'm not that. A video game, that's I call that me, right? I'm going over there, but I know that's not me. So yeah, if you just understand that, then you understand everything. If you replace the physical world as the mirror image, then you understand everything. Thank you for recognizing my brilliance. Uh, yeah, well, thank you. I'm so glad that that someone gets it. Like it's really important that someone gets it, and it's helping. It's helping. So thank you for thank you. All right. Well, this is time for me because I'm going to indulge in watching some screen, which is NFL football playoffs. Not just regular football, but playoffs. Big guys pounding the shit out of each other. Like football, the NFL type is exactly perfectly one against the other. It's the positive and the negative. Just what they're trying to get here, they're trying to get here, and they're in exact opposition to each other, just straight pounding on. Yeah, I love it. All right, we'll see you next weekend.